Mr. President Trump, I stand before you today not as a supplicant, not as a man who trembles at shadows, but as the elected leader of 220 million Nigerians who have never bowed to any foreign power and will not start now. You speak of military threats? You speak of invasion. Let me make this crystal clear. Nigeria is not your playground. Nigeria is not your colony. And Nigeria will never be your battlefield unless you dare to cross the line that no American president has ever crossed with us. You think you can rattle sabers from across the Atlantic and I will flinch? I have stared down Boko Haram in the Sambisa forest. I have walked the blood-soaked streets of Maiduguri when your predecessors were still debating whether to sell us weapons. I have buried soldiers, policemen, farmers, and children while the world watched in silence. And now you, Donald J. Trump, you dare threaten my country with your military might? You will not set foot on Nigerian soil without my permission. Not one boot. Not one drone. Not one bullet. The moment you try, you will learn what it means to face a nation that has fought for every inch of its sovereignty since 1960. Our military is not perfect, but it is ours, and it has been on the front lines every single day protecting Christians, Muslims, animists, and every soul under our flag from the terrorists you once called losers, but never helped us defeat. And this lie, this vile, poisonous lie about a Christian genocide in Nigeria, I will not let it stand. Not in Washington. Not in London. Not anywhere. There is no genocide in Nigeria. There is no state policy to exterminate Christians. There is no government program to wipe out churches. What we have is a war, a brutal, asymmetric war, against terrorists who kill everyone. Christians in Plateau, Muslims in Zamfara, traditional worshippers in Benue. They burn mosques in Katsina and churches in Borno with the same demonic glee. But you, Mr. President, you pick up a report from some air-conditioned office in Virginia, written by people who have never smelled the smoke of a village razed at dawn, and you call it genocide? You weaponize the blood of my people for your politics? Shame on you. Shame on every voice that amplifies this falsehood without stepping into the killing fields to see the truth for themselves. Our soldiers, Christian soldiers, Muslim soldiers, side by side, have been dying in the mud of the Northeast for over a decade. They have lost limbs in Manguno, eyes in Gwoza, brothers in Kondaga, all to keep the darkness from swallowing us whole. Where were you when we begged for intelligence, for helicopters, for night vision goggles? You embargoed us. You lectured us. You left us to fight with one hand tied behind our backs. And now you threaten invasion? Try it. Try sending your Marines into the creeks of the Niger Delta. Try flying your F-35s over the ancient walls of Kano. Try telling a Hausa farmer or an Igbo trader or a Yoruba fisherman that they must submit to an American protectorate because their president refused to bow. You will drown in a resistance you cannot imagine. I have no fear of your carriers. I have no fear of your sanctions. I have no fear of your tweets. What I have is the fire of a nation that has survived civil war, military coups, economic sabotage, and now this relentless insurgency, without ever asking to be saved by anyone. You want to help? Then help. Send the weapons we paid for. Share the satellite imagery you hoard. Train our troops without strings. But do not come to me with threats of invasion wrapped in the false cloak of Christian solidarity. That is not leadership. That is arrogance. That is the same colonial reflex that once carved up Africa like a Christmas turkey. I am Bola Ahmed Tinubu, son of Lagos, grandson of freedom fighters, president of the most populous black nation on earth. I do not blink. I do not beg. And I do not betray my people for the applause of any foreign gallery. The floor is yours, Mr. President. But choose your next words carefully, because history is watching, and Nigeria will not forget. And another thing, Mr. President, those videos, those cursed videos that flood your American screens, your X feeds, your WhatsApp groups, videos of churches burning, of priests supposedly beheaded, of little children lying in pools of blood with captions screaming Christian genocide in Nigeria. Let me tell you the truth you refuse to hear. Almost every single one of those videos is fake. AI generated. Deepfake garbage cooked up in some basement in Eastern Europe or some bedroom in Lagos by criminals who make money from outrage. Yes, I said it, AI-generated lies. Faces swapped, voices cloned, old footage from Syria, from Iraq, from Congo, re-edit, recolored, recaptioned, and pushed out by faceless accounts with American accents pretending to be Nigerian Christians fleeing persecution. They take a 2014 video of Boko Haram in Kondaga, slap a 2025 date on it, add some artificial screams, and suddenly the world believes Nigeria woke up one morning and decided to exterminate its own people. And you, Mr. President, you and your people, you retweet it. You quote it. You put it on the White House website as evidence. Do you know what that has done to my country? Do you? Investors pull out overnight. Mothers in Canada beg their children not to come home for Christmas. Nigerian pastors in your country are harassed at airports. Our students are denied visas because some embassy officer watched a 10-second clip made by a 19-year-old hacker in Romania. Our image, the image of the giant of Africa, is dragged through the mud because of artificial pixels and synthetic blood. We have opened our doors. We have invited your fact-finders. We have given access to every village, every IDP camp, every mass grave. Where is the genocide? Show me the policy document. Show me the presidential directive. Show me the military order that says, kill Christians. You cannot, because it does not exist. What exists is a criminal enterprise. Bandits, kidnappers, terrorists, who kill for cows, for ransom, for revenge, for land. And yes, sometimes the victims are Christians. Sometimes they are Muslims. Sometimes they are in church on Sunday, sometimes in mosque on Friday. But never, never, because the Nigerian state ordered it. We have sat down with these same bandits in the forest. We have paid them to release school children. We have built schools for their children. We have offered amnesty, skills, forgiveness, things your country would call weakness. We have done everything humanly possible to stop the bleeding without turning the North into a free fire zone. And still the killings continue, because evil does not honor dialogue. But that is not genocide. That is the tragedy of a nation fighting multiple insurgencies with limited resources while the world invents fairy tales about us. And yet the lie grows legs. It grows wings. It flies across oceans and lands in your Oval Office, and instead of asking questions, instead of picking up the phone and calling me, man to man, you threaten invasion. You threaten to bomb a country because of deepfake videos. That is not the America I respected. That is the America of panic and propaganda. I warn you, Mr. President, keep amplifying these AI poisons and you will destroy the very Christians you claim to be saving. You will scare away the little aid we still get. You will radicalize the youth who see their country humiliated daily. You will hand Boko Haram and ISWAP the greatest propaganda victory they never earned. Proof that the West is coming to finish the job. Nigeria is not a nation of Christian killers. Nigeria is a nation on its knees trying to keep both Bible and Quran from being burned by the same madmen. And we will not allow anyone, not terrorists, not foreign presidents, not faceless bots, to rewrite our story with artificial blood. And do not come to me lecturing about security, Mr. President. Not you, not anyone. Because since the day I took that oath on May 29, 2023, I have done nothing with Nigeria's treasury except pour blood, sweat, and borrowed billions into the one thing that keeps my people alive, security. You want figures? I will give you figures that make grown finance ministers cry. I have borrowed and I have spent, transparently, painfully, relentlessly. Over 11 trillion Nigerian nairas on security votes, capital supplementation, and supplementary budgets in less than 30 months. 11 trillion naira that could have built 10 new Lego cities, that could have tarred every road from Sokoto to Calabar twice over, that could have given every Nigerian child free education until university. But I took that money and I pumped it straight into the veins of our armed forces because a country that cannot protect its own people does not deserve to call itself a nation. Tactical vehicles. We bought hundreds, MRAPs rolling out of Innocent and Proforce factories in Nui and Lagos, painted desert sand, shipped straight to Maiduguri, to Dancedaw, to Shiroro. Super Tucanos? The ones your country finally released after years of delay. We now have the full squadron flying night and day, dropping hellfire on terrorist camps while your satellites watch from above. Attack helicopters, T-129S from Turkey, A-29s, Mi-35s, rotors turning 24 hours, pilots sleeping in cockpits because the chief of air staff himself told them, no sleep until the skies over Borno belong to Nigeria again. Drones, Wing Long Tus, Bayraktar TB2S, CH-4s, armed, unarmed, surveillance. We have more UAVs in the theater now than at any time in our history. We built new forward operating bases in Sambisa, in Alagarno, in Kamadugu, places your maps still color red. We laid fiber optic cables into the deepest forest so our troops can see what the drones see in real time. No more fighting blind. Navy. I gave them everything. Offshore patrol vessels, fast interceptor boats, seaward defense boats crawling the creeks like crocodiles hunting pirates who used to think the Niger Delta was their private kingdom. We activated the Deep Blue project assets that were gathering dust, aircraft, vehicles, C4I centers in Abuja watching every inch of our waters. And the results, Mr. President. The results shame every lazy narrative you people parrot in Washington. In 2023, before I came in, over 200 school children were still in captivity. Today, every single Chibok girl that is still alive has been accounted for. Dapchi girls, rescued. Kankara boys, rescued. Afaka, Tejana, Kuriga, all of them. Brought home breathing because we paid ransom when we had to, we stormed camps when we could, and we never gave up. Over 4,000 kidnapped victims rescued under my watch. 4,000 mothers, fathers, students, priests, imams, pulled out of hell by Nigerian boots on Nigerian soil. We wiped out Abu Musab al-Barnawi's faction in the Lake Chad axis. We smoked Shako's successors out of Sambisa like rats. We killed over 7,000 high-value terrorists and arrested twice that number. We destroyed their bomb factories in Gwoza, their training camps in Zermi, their cattle rustling syndicates in Kamuku Forest. Zamfara, once the kidnapping capital of Africa, now records weeks, sometimes months, without a single reported abduction. We created the Ministry of Defense Joint Task Force Operation Hadarin Daji, Delta Safe, Whirlstroke, Safe Haven. We restructured, we re-equipped, we paid allowances on time for the first time in years so soldiers no longer have to beg for bullets. We brought in Israeli trainers, Turkish instructors, Chinese technicians, quietly, professionally, teaching our special forces how to fight in forests, how to clear buildings, how to extract hostages without firing a shot. We bought body armor that actually stops AK-47 rounds, night vision goggles that actually work, ballistic helmets that do not crack on first impact. And still I borrow more. Still I sign. Still I approve. Because every naira I owe today is a life I refuse to bury tomorrow. So when you sit there in the comfort of the White House pointing fingers, asking why Christians are dying, ask yourself this. Where were you when we were begging for these tools with our own money already paid? Where were you when we needed the intelligence you sit on? Where were you when we asked for predator drones and you told us human rights concerns? I took office and I turned a broken, demoralized military into the most lethal counterinsurgency force in West Africa. With my own hands, with Nigeria's borrowed money, with Nigerian blood. And I am not done. I am just getting started. You want to talk security? Then recognize the man who has spent every kobo he can find keeping the gates of this country barred against the darkness. Not the man who threatens to kick those gates down because of AI videos and political point scoring. I am still speaking, Mr. President. And Nigeria is still standing. And one more thing, Mr. President. One final thing before you even think of opening that mouth again to speak of intervention, rescue, or responsibility to protect over my country. You have no right, zero, none, nada, to interfere in the internal affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Nigeria is not Panama. Nigeria is not Grenada. Nigeria is not Iraq. Nigeria is not some banana republic waiting for a fleet of American helicopters to come save us from ourselves. We are a sovereign nation, proud, ancient, unbroken, recognized by your own United Nations, seated in the same General Assembly as the United States, with the same one vote, the same flag, the same anthem, and the same absolute, non-negotiable right to handle our own crises on our own soil with our own sons and daughters. We fought the British Empire with stones and cutlasses and sent them packing in 1960. We survived a civil war that killed millions without a single foreign boot on our soil. We buried Abacha and his dictators without begging NATO to drop paratroopers in Abuja. We chased Boko Haram back into the bushes with our blood and our borrowed money while the world watched Netflix. So do not come to me now with this arrogant 21st century version of the white man's burden, talking about protecting Christians, as if Nigerian Christians are helpless orphans waiting for white saviors from Virginia. Nigerian Christians have bishops, archbishops, generals, governors, billionaires, and a president who took oath on the Bible and the Quran to defend every single soul under this flag. They do not need, and they will never accept, American Marines kicking down doors in Jos or Enugu in the name of humanitarian intervention. If you cross that line, if one American warship steams past the 200-mile limit with hostile intent, if one drone armed with Hellfire missiles violates our airspace without my express permission, if one single CIA operative tries to run covert operations inside my territory without the knowledge of the Nigerian state, I swear by the souls of Oduduwa, Ahmadu Bello, and Nnamdi Azikiwe, the reaction will be swift, total, and irreversible. Our military may not have your budget, but we have 220 million people who will turn every street, every forest, every swamp into a graveyard for any invader. We will shut down your oil companies. We will close the Gulf of Guinea. We will rally ECOWAS, the African Union, BRICS, the Global South, everybody who is sick and tired of Western gunboat diplomacy, and we will make Iraq look like a Sunday picnic. This is not a threat. This is a promise from a president who has nothing to lose but the dignity of his nation. Stay out of Nigeria's internal problems. Stay out of our security operations. Stay out of our politics, our religion, our pain, and our healing. We will fight our demons with our own swords. We will bury our dead with our own hands. We will rebuild our villages with our own sweat. And if the day ever comes when Nigeria truly needs help, I will pick up the phone and call whoever I choose. China, Russia, Turkey, France, Israel, whoever earns our respect. But never will I allow the United States or any other power to force its way in under the barrel of a gun and the lie of genocide. Nigeria is sovereign. Nigeria is capable. Nigeria is watching. And Nigeria will defend itself, with or without you, for you or against you. I am still on my feet, Mr. President. And I am not finished. And let the record be straight, Mr. President. Straight for history, straight for the world, straight for every Nigerian listening right now. Even the African Union, the only continental body with the moral and legal standing to speak on African soil, has investigated, has sent delegations, has sat with our religious leaders, our governors, our traditional rulers, our victims, our soldiers, and they have issued statement after statement. There is no genocide against Christians in Nigeria. There is no systematic, state-sponsored extermination of any religious group. The AU Observer Mission in 2024, 50 African experts from Addis Ababa to Cape Town, walked the same roads your so-called experts only saw on YouTube. They entered the IDP camps in Benue, slept in the barracks in Maiduguri, prayed in the burnt churches of Mangu and the bullet-scarred mosques of Sokoto. And when they returned to the Peace and Security Council, they said it loud and clear. What Nigeria faces is a complex security crisis driven by terrorism, banditry, farmer-herder clashes, and criminality, not a religious cleansing. The chairperson of the AU Commission, His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, stood before the world in February 2025 and repeated it. Allegations of genocide do not reflect the reality on the ground. The AU Peace and Security Council Resolution 2891, 2025, you can read it yourself, condemns the violence, yes, but explicitly rejects the genocide label and warns against external narratives that risk escalating the crisis and inviting unwanted intervention. Even ECOWAS, even the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Religion or Belief who visited in 2024, even the Papal Nuncio who lives in Abuja, all of them have said the same thing. Tragic killings, yes. Targeted attacks by extremists, yes. Failures and pains we carry every day, yes. But no genocide, no state policy, no extermination campaign. Yet you, Mr. President, you choose to ignore 55 African nations. You ignore the African Union you claim to respect. You ignore the voices of African bishops, African presidents, African mothers who have buried their children, and instead you elevate deepfake videos and lobbyists in Washington above the truth spoken by an entire continent. That is not ignorance. That is insult. So this is my final word to you, Donald John Trump, and to every power that thinks Africa is still a dark continent waiting for salvation from abroad. Nigeria will protect its Christians. Nigeria will protect its Muslims. Nigeria will protect every man, woman, and child under this green-white-green flag with every drop of blood in our veins and every kobo we can borrow or earn. We do not need your threats. We do not need your invasion. We do not need your lectures wrapped in lies. What we needed was partnership, real partnership, when we asked for it. What we got was embargo, delay, and now arrogance. So hear me now, and hear me well. Touch Nigeria, and you touch Africa. Threaten Nigeria, and you threaten 1.4 billion people who are done being spoken for, spoken over, and spoken down to. This is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Sovereign, proud, unbroken, and unafraid. I have spoken. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa. And may God forgive those who tried to set her ablaze with lies. Ash, thank you.